so sorry I didn't see you there. Well, actually, I am dealing with an issue that I wonder if you might be able to relate to it. So, can I have a quick conversation with you? I wonder, have you ever been in a season in your life where you're having a tough time? Perhaps you're having a loss in your family or you're having a difficult relationship issue. Maybe you're struggling financially. Honestly, regardless of what it is, have you ever been in a season in your life where you're really just having a tough time? And you think to yourself, I just need someone to talk to. So then you pick up your phone and you go through your contact information and you are looking through all the numbers and names you have saved. And the crazy thing is that even though you have hundreds of contact information and you are looking at those contacts and looking at the names, and these are people who you laugh with, you chill with, you go out for happy hours with, you go to parties with, you go to networking events with, even though all these people you know them and they know you, yet you don't feel that there's someone out of the entire group that you can feel comfortable to communicate with when you're struggling. Hi, my name is Maman, and if you for any moment feel that you are having a difficult time connecting with the people in your life, whether that is your personal or professional life, I want you to stick around because you might be possibly struggling from the fear of being vulnerable. And I know. Oftentimes, when we think about vulnerability, we tend to think of it in a negative light. We think of vulnerability as a weakness. We are sometimes afraid to be vulnerable with other people because we tend to think that if I show vulnerability, people are going to think of me as being weak. If I have a moment of weakness, people are going to take advantage of me or they're not going to see me as a strong, smart, independent person. You know the crazy thing? I used to be like that. See, I am African and a Christian, right? So for a very long time growing up, I was told that the way to deal with my emotions, the way to deal with my trauma, the way to deal with my challenges was to just pray. I was taught that people go through worse things than I am, and therefore I really did not have a space to complain, and that I should be lucky that I'm in America as a refugee, and that I should be lucky that I'm in school, and that I should be lucky that I have a roof over my head. So I was always taught to feel that I could not express a moment of weakness, that I could not express when I was struggling. And because of that, at an earlier age, I learned to be ashamed of my vulnerability. But in college, my freshman year of college, I took a class, a women gender class, that completely changed everything for me. So this class, we learned about women around the world who were just struggling with so many different things. And if you want to read more about this, I actually have a blog post that I wrote about it. If you go to mamancooper.com/blog, you will be able to find that blog post. It was posted for March 11th. And it's called the 3 benefits of vulnerability. So I, for a long time, really struggled with being vulnerable with other people. And I was really taught that my vulnerability made me weak. And that the way that I can show strength, the way that I can show that I have power was to just tough it up. And because of that, for a very long time, I struggled with being able to have very authentic connections with people around me, including my friends or a romantic partner, because I was taught to hide the things about me that I was struggling with. In this blog post, I talked about the benefits of vulnerability. And in this video today, our focus is to talk about what those 3 benefits are. The sad thing that I've realized is that I've seen friends, family, and other people who are in my close circle share about their fear of being vulnerable. And it breaks my heart because I used to be like that, and I've learned to practice stepping in the power of my vulnerability. And what I've realized is that the moment I started being vulnerable with people, with my partner, with my friends, with even some colleagues, it completely unlocked the struggles I was having with my relationships. And because I've been able to allow myself to be vulnerable, I have enjoyed 3 beautiful benefits of vulnerability. So this video, I want to go over those benefits with you because If you are someone who is afraid of being vulnerable, whether you're a man or a woman, if you are afraid of being vulnerable because someone may have taken something you said and threw it back in your face, I've been there. If you are afraid of being vulnerable, maybe because you have an abusive past, I've been there. If you are someone who is afraid of being vulnerable, maybe because someone who you know has been taken advantage of because of their vulnerability. First, I want to say that I am sorry. It is not right. And I want to encourage you to try one more time. There's a lot of benefits that come with being vulnerable in our relationships and in our lives that we often tend to not think of. So, 3 benefits. One of the benefits I want to talk about is that vulnerability builds authentic connections. I have been in education, for example, for a very long time, and students tend to love to be around me. I remember when I used to teach, the principal of the school will always call me the auntie of the students. And even currently at my current job, I have a lot of students who always just love to be around me. And I said that not to brag, because it's not just students, it's also staff members. I've also worked in politics, and I've done a lot of different jobs where people just love to talk to me. And again, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when I've learned to just relax and stop having this poker face, when I've just learned to be a human and connect with other people, I have been able to build very authentic relationship regardless of who the person is. You know, it's so amazing because I remember working in politics in the past year, and even grown people. I'm talking people in their 50s, 60s, 70s who I would never think will just connect to a young woman like myself. And regardless of the racial ethnicity and the age gap, people just always feel so comfortable to talk to me. And I've been able to build very authentic community and very authentic connections with people because I've allowed myself to be vulnerable. I've allowed myself to just share who I am from my heart. And because of that, people tend to just be able to connect with me more. Because for example, my students don't just see me as the teacher or the staff member. They just see, oh, that's Miss Cooper. And they feel so close to me. So one of the benefits of being in your vulnerability is that it builds authentic connections. Another big benefit of vulnerability is that it deepens connections. So you're not just building authentic connections, you're also going beyond where your relationships are being deepened, your connections are being deepened. I remember years ago, I posted in a group chat. It was a primarily all female group chat, and I posted about something that I was struggling with. And this is something where only one person in my life knew about it, and I was struggling with this thing, but I never really talked about it. And I remember posting this group chat, and it was so insane because my friends did not comment when I posted it. But I think days or weeks later, a friend of mine called me, and she shared with me that she also was struggling with this issue as well. And she said to me, Mama, you're so brave. I've been struggling with this thing, and I've never talked to anyone about it. And for her, this was her first time talking about it with someone. And it blew my mind because this is someone who I've been friends with for years. This is someone who we used to be on the phone together all the time. We used to pray together, do all type of things together. And yet still, this was the first time that she was opening up about something that she has struggled with. And I kid you not, when my friend called me and she opened up to me, something happened. Our relationship transformed. Because what I realized was that even though we were really good friends, we were still somehow hiding behind our identities. We were hiding behind the things that we were struggling with. But when she called me and said to me, I too have been struggling with this thing, immediately we went from having very basic conversations to having very deep conversations. And that did not just transform my relationship with her, that effect also went over to our relationship as a group, because now we have difficult conversations where we know that no matter how challenging something is, we can always turn to each other and have a heart-to-heart moment. So benefits of being in your vulnerability is that number one, it builds authentic connections, and number two, it deepens your connection. A third beautiful benefit of vulnerability and this is something that I've been so blessed to experience, is that it creates atmosphere for healing. Let me say that again. Vulnerability creates atmosphere for healing. My partner and I, when we first started dating, I was so scared to open up to him. And I was so scared to open up to him because previously I had opened up to a guy who I was dating at the time. And this individual completely abused my vulnerability. This individual completely used my vulnerability against me. And because the guy I was with previously used my vulnerability against me, I was so scared to be in a position again where I open up to another guy, because a part of me felt afraid that opening up to another guy that I was with, opening up to someone else intimately, was basically opening the door wide to say, yes, please come, please come in and take advantage of me. So I was really afraid. At the very beginning, I struggled opening up. And every time I've challenged myself to be open with my partner, one thing I found myself saying over and over was, I really hope you will not use this against me in the future. I really hope that you will not use my vulnerability against me in the future. And one day he just happened to ask me, has someone ever used your vulnerability against you? Which I said yes, and I explained to him what happened. But the reality is that my partner too, he was struggling with opening up to me, because he as well has experienced being, having his vulnerability used against him. So one of the things that I started doing in our relationship was just being able to allow myself to try again, to try to be vulnerable, to try to share the parts of me that are not so pretty, to try to share my fears and my dreams and my aspirations. And the beautiful thing that happened, my partner also began to open up. And even though there are things in my life that I'm still healing from, there are areas in my life that I'm still struggling to heal from, that I'm still processing, he and I have gotten into a place in our relationship where we give each other grace, where we support each other, where we understand that, hey, I know you just snapped. Take a step back, because I know that did not have to do with me. So for me, being able to have a space in my relationship with my partner where I am vulnerable, where I can say, babe, I felt triggered when you said A, B, C, D. Babe, I felt very upset because you did not show up for me in the way I hoped. Babe, I feel very upset right now because earlier when I needed you around, you were too busy for me. Vulnerability does not have to be all traumatic stuff, right? And you can have that space in your relationship where you're able to express your trauma, where you're able to share with your partner of what you're struggling with. But vulnerability can just be as simple as, hey babe, or hey friend, or hey coworker, or hey student, the way you spoke to me really hurt my feelings. And I know you're upset, but I'm a person and I really don't like to be spoken to the way you did. What's going on? What are you feeling? Why do you speak the way you did? One of the beautiful benefits of vulnerability is to just be able to have the atmosphere of healing. Because for me, like in my relationship, because my partner and I really know each other, because we have opened up about our lives, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. When I'm having a hard time or something, I'm able to come to him and say, hey, I was having a hard day today. And I know that what I'm feeling may not make too much sense, but I'm having a hard day and I need you to be here for me. I need you to sit with me. I need you to just hug me. So vulnerability just creates this atmosphere of where you're able to heal. And it's hard to heal in relationships when you feel that you have to have a mask on, when you feel that you have to hide your past, when you feel that you have to hide who you are. It is hard to be vulnerable. And I would love to have you join my community. I started a blog called Stop the Cycle, and the story behind the blog is really to prevent unhealthy and toxic relationships so that people can learn to build healthier relationships both in their personal and their private life. So if you're interested in visiting the blog, please go ahead to my website. It's mamantcooper.com, or you can just go to mamantcooper.com/blog. So I really want to encourage you that if you're someone who is struggling with vulnerability, either because you've been taken advantage of or because you are just scared, or you feel that, for example, men are not supposed to be vulnerable, or you feel that, I'm a strong woman, I'm independent, I'm strong, I'm smart, I don't need this guy seeing me being vulnerable. I promise you, you are missing out on blessings. You're missing out on the blessing of being able to connect with someone authentically. So I want this video to encourage you that if you are struggling with being vulnerable, if you're struggling with just allowing yourself to be human, take a step back and just give yourself the gift. You're not a robot. You're a human being who has real stories. You're a human being who has real challenges. You're a human being who has a past. You're a person who has fears and aspirations. And that is okay to share with people, because the beauty of being vulnerable is that it inspires others to be vulnerable in return. And you will see how your relationships, personally, intimately, professionally, begin to just transform. I hope this video helps you. Please hit subscribe button and also like this video. I want you to leave a comment. Are you someone who is struggling with vulnerability? And if you are, I want you to know that it's okay. And I also want you to know that you can change that. You can transform your relationship. And if so, if you don't mind sharing, why is vulnerability so hard for you? What is scary about it? Are you someone who have also experienced the benefits of vulnerability? If so, I want you to comment below as well, because we need to hear more stories of people who are stepping into the vulnerability and enjoying their relationships more because of it. So a few things I ask you to do is go to my website, mamandcooper.com, or you can go directly to the blog post, to the blog website, which is mamandcooper.com/blog, or you can also visit my social media. But if you love more of this content, please hit the like button and also hit subscribe, because I would love for you to get more of this content. And if there are any topics in this genre that you want me to cover, please go ahead and comment below as well. Thank you for listening, and I am so grateful that you were able to spend this time with me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time. I hope you enjoy your day. Have a blessed day, and I hope vulnerability changes your life for the better like it has mine.